Ohayou gozaimasu. Welcome to Ohio Anime. Irashaimase. It's the anime show that doesn't take place in the morning, but it is morning in Japan, so that's how we're getting away with it. My name is John, and I'm going to be joined by a couple awesome people, so let's get them in here right away. Andrea and Phil, how's it going?
Hey. It's going
Phil,
good.
once again
It's
in a
been
new setup or something there.
Yep. I just like to keep you on your toes.
it's been a while
You're
since
quiet
I've joined
again,
the
Phil.
beginning.
It has.
Forgot how jazzy this opening is.
I always beep hop around a little bit to it.
This is what I was doing too. Ah, God, we're cool.
Super cool.
Phil, I'm turning
So
your
cool
mic
being cool anyway.
like all the way up.
Sorry?
I'm turning your mic volume like all the way up.
Oh, sorry. I'm like right next to it too. So I don't know.
I mean, you can definitely tell the difference when you lean in and out.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's
yeah.
pretty sensitive.
Oh. Maybe I have it. Is this better?
That would if you were talking that distance the whole time, that would be much better. Yeah. Wait, now you like hit something.
Well, now you turned it off, I think.
Yeah.
Better.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna like do some like right here, like real
You're
close.
there. See, then
Yeah,
I
just
would.
do a little bit of posing there, you know? This is very, yeah, see? You knew what I was going for.
I'll try to like lean in when I say something.
Okay.
Sweet.
Cool. All right. Well, yeah, we're here. We're back to talk. It's been a few weeks now since the anime show. We haven't been covering a regular every week or every other week kind of series. So we got to find different stuff to talk about. And this week we're going to be talking about Promare, Studio Trigger film. I've talked before about wishing I was familiar with more good anime movies. It'd be nice sometimes to just watch a movie and not sit down for a long season or multiple seasons of whatever. So Promare by Studio Trigger. We're I think it's relevant because we're covering, we did talk about and we will be covering further Delicious in Dungeon, another project of theirs. So yeah. But before we get there, we'll see what everybody's been up to, what they've been watching maybe, and we got like just one news story to talk about. So
Oh, okay.
Andrea, why don't you kick us off? Anything new you've tried, or have you made big progress in something else, another series or something?
Sure. Well, I've made progress in a couple of different series. Apothecary Diaries. I started, oh God, what's the one you're going to dress up as, Phil?
The cooking one?
No, the other one before that. It's like another like an action adventure. The main character is like
The
gone
undead
right
thing?
away. Yeah.
Which one?
The main character gets like smoked right away. And he comes back as like a skeleton.
The campfire cooking one that I told you and Dana about.
No, she's saying before that. It's the one that was like he's like turning into different monsters, right, or something along the way. Phil, you were the one that watched the show.
Unwanted Undead Adventurer.
Yes, thank you.
Yes. Awesome. Sorry. Yes.
I was like,
It's
dang
hard.
it, why can't I remember this now?
Okay.
Yeah, and I mean, I've only watched the first episode, so I mean,
Okay.
Let me just cast you all the way back. So I've watched some of that, and then I made it through everything that I rewatched for the irregular at Magic High School, and then I'm 3 episodes into the new second season.
Okay.
And I'm like I'm bouncing all over the place, man. Like on the one hand, it's so fun to revisit these characters. On the other, like we're starting out a little bit chaotic.
Okay.
There is like zero exposition. They spend like 0.5 seconds on like, hey, remember what happened last season? Zero. Like we are in it, which is both a good and a bad thing. Cause I was a little like, you're just like jumping into like a plot without like, how are my characters doing? Like, how has everybody been? Like, there's been some time passed. So I don't really know. I don't know. I was expecting to be a little bit more excited, and I'm a little maybe let down by it, but I'm determined to push ahead.
That's too bad.
But you kind of rewatched, right? So I mean, you should feel caught up.
Yeah, but it felt like events moved forward without telling me what happened to the characters. And you know what I mean? Like it just sort of jumped into a plot, and I was like, there has been time. What did people do? Like, am I supposed to just believe like nobody did anything? Like
Right.
it felt a little bit abrupt in terms of like we just want to jump into a story, and I felt like I was lacking character development or like storyline between the seasons.
What show is this? Sorry,
The Irregular at Magic High School.
I don't think I know that one. It's pretty good.
It is good. I like it for the way that they're like, okay, so magic used to be this like fringe occulty thing, and then it became like a form of science, and we like legalized it, classified it, and now it's like we have scientists who work on this, so they approach magic as science.
Cool.
And I
I guess that sounds familiar. I think I've heard of it.
I really like the way that they do that for the story. There is, I think, a little bit of like giving the main character a little too many like special abilities.
What? I can't believe that an anime would do that.
So unusual. Weird. We've never encountered that. And of course, you know, it definitely has the like trope of like suddenly like a thing has like a crazy name and everybody's like, oh, that thing that we've never talked about, but everybody knows the name of now. Wow, we're seeing it. Which, by the way, I decided when I grow up, because I'm not grown up yet, I really want my job to be to name like powers or moves or whatever it be in anime. I just want to come up with fun names for stuff.
That sounds
like that's all.
Like a job.
I think, Andrea, you should just start.
Like there's somebody out there who does like Ben and Jerry's ice cream flavors. I want to do this for anime.
Sure.
I think
I could do that.
I mean,
I could do that.
That does seem like a challenging linguistic job, you know, because, you know, how do you put words together that don't sound silly, but those parts have meaning? And not too obvious.
You have to tell people what it is. Yeah, you have to tell people what it is without saying like this is this ability, but it has to sound cool or scary or, you know, impressive.
Yeah, like incendio makes perfect sense. It's like using incinerate, but it, you know, it's not, I don't know. That's as close enough to on the nose, I'd say, is. Right. You know, but.
Like you didn't say like,
you do it.
Fire start.
Yeah, right. That's, you know, speaking of that, that is one thing that sometimes makes anime to me more preferable or palatable in Japanese, is because a lot of times the special moves or something like that someone shouts out, they might say them in Japanese, and being I don't know what it is, I'm not hearing it specifically, it can sound cool. Sure. Versus if it's just in English, it might just be fire punch, you know, and it doesn't sound as cool. And I don't know, it can make a difference, I think, for some of the stuff. So, well, good luck to you, Andrea, in your future adulthood career.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm definitely going to be taking this up.
Oh, cool. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Like I said the other week, I appreciate that show because feels like it was the first one to jump on that. Let's do our own version of Harry Potter kind of bandwagon sort of thing. But a lot less, again, on the nose than some of the other things. Yep. That has come since. Phil, how about you? Big progress on some shows, or?
Yeah, I have. Before I get into that, I know we don't review memes on this podcast, but I just have to mention on this public platform. Did you guys see? Okay, so the Super Bowl. You guys probably saw the event where Travis Kelce got up and Andy Reid, his head coach's face, and like bumped him and he almost knocked him over. And then he's like yelling in his face. And then there was like many memes made about what he was like yelling at him from popular culture. You guys familiar with this meme, John? Andrea, I know
I mean, I'm familiar with the moment because I saw the moment going around, and maybe I saw a meme or two. Yeah. Okay.
Well, if I sent you a meme quick, can you put it on? Is that allowed to put it on the screen? It's so worth it.
If you email it to me where I just sent you the link or whatever, I could probably get it then.
Okay. I'll just send it to you.
On my phone, it's going to be a problem.
Yeah.
I just don't have.
I'll send it to you as the show goes on, and then you can put it up when the time feels right. But I just want the viewers to really experience this hilariously on the nose meme. It's so good. So I'm just gonna little teaser there, and I'll send it to you, and maybe you can put it up there at some point in the show.
Did you send it to the group, Phil?
I didn't send it yet, but I will.
No, but you did. Oh, you sent one about Iron Man.
Yeah, that one. Can you put it on, Andrea?
I mean, hold on.
Did I send it to the? Oh, I did send it to the group, John.
Yeah,
it is
John
so
has
good.
it.
People need to know about this meme. People need to know. John's like, we're getting really far afield here, but
do you know what's really great about this? It's like one of those memes where I heard it in Jeff Bridges' voice.
Yes, absolutely.
You know what I read that meme in his voice, and I was absolutely like, "Oh my god!"
Absolutely,
really fits.
I guess I'm going to say it, but
We definitely are leaving the viewers out. They're like, I don't know what you're talking about.
Okay,
I have no idea.
So
I mean, I'm giving some really big hints here.
You are. So it's Travis Kelce yelling in Andy Reid's face, and the caption is, "Tony Stark made this in a cave with scraps." It's just such a great Marvel Iron Man throwback. Jeff Bridges is just one of my favorite actors. I was like, it's just the look on his face, the beard, it all works perfectly. And people need to check this meme out because it's a new instant classic. If you like Marvel, the OG Marvel when it was good. So I had to make it known to the public.
I'm sure everyone will be very thankful now, Phil.
I think so too. I feel that way. But aside from dank memes, I've also I've been watching quite a few shows. So I'll just kind of zip through them here, and if you guys want to know about any of them in more detail, you can let me know. But a lot of them we've talked about at least in passing. But I have one episode of Free Run Journey's End to watch. Episode 24 is out, and I need to just watch that one. And that's the first season, I believe.
Wait,
also,
can I pause?
Yeah.
Can I pause there?
Yeah.
John, you said you were about to watch this, right? Have you seen the kind of poster for the show?
I've seen some posters. I don't know.
Okay, because it's I just saw it. I haven't started it yet. I just added it to my list, and it gave me strong Violet Evergarden vibes.
Okay.
Just that cut shot where she's holding a briefcase and the cast is behind her, whoever the main character is.
Yeah. I can. So
that image just gave me
right. I'm just thinking.
It was just the way it was assembled. Out. Just the way that square clip was assembled. I was just sort of like, wow, that is the exact way I'm pretty sure the cast lined up for Violet Evergarden.
Okay.
Even though the art is different, for sure.
Yeah, I should look at some of the creative team behind each of those because I wonder what the people that did Violet Evergarden are up to now.
Yeah.
And
that was a good one, Phil. If you have not seen that is excellent.
I haven't, but I've heard a lot about it.
So good.
Yeah, and I just wonder, I mean, I don't want you to give anything away because I'm only 3 episodes in now.
Right.
But does this series could tug on the heartstrings? I feel like this is a
emotional
meditative show.
Yeah.
Where it's kind of like a Mushishi or even there's one that's currently going now that Ashley likes. I'll maybe think of it. It's got a guy with horns and stuff on it. Oh, Ancient Magus' Bride, that one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're
that's
just
a good one.
They're slower. They're more kind of just examinary of life and meaning and relationships. And I don't know. They're just kind of thoughtful. This one seems it just seems thoughtful. So
Similar.
far. So
Yeah, I mean, without giving anything away, I will say that is true. And also, there are little mini arcs that have a fair amount of action and like some sort of like adventuring, and there's some humor. I mean, it actually, it really, I mean, you can usually put most shows into a little, some sort of a box. This one, it really spans. I feel like there's a little bit of touch of romance, a touch of slice of life, some of the meditative like Mushishi. It's really good. I really don't want to, and I don't know, obviously, again, don't want to say too much, but it's like the top show on Mal right now. And I mean, I know that changes over time, but it's definitely been one of the top shows of the year. I mean, it's quite good. I think there's a little something for everyone in it.
Okay. Yeah, I just was interested because I heard great things. It's a beautiful show. 3 episodes in, I really like it, but I haven't heard you raving about it. So I'm like, I don't know. Is it?
Yeah. Well, I think the first couple times I talked about it, I was still in the early stages. I feel like it wasn't until episode 7 or 8, right around there, that I was like, oh, this is getting, I'm like really not feeling it now. Like it did. I'd say, yeah, it starts out a little slower, and then it really picks up, and it kind of has some. Can I help you?
Jojo has something to say.
She does. I knew she was going to be a problem. Sorry, or I had a feeling she might be. So hopefully, she doesn't like. The only thing is if she like tries to like jerk the microphone cord off the, that could happen. Well, she's laying down on my foot, so it should be okay. Okay. But anyway, it's gotten really excellent. There were some like mini arcs in the season I thought were so fun. So
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Just out of curiosity as well, like, did you finish Summertime Rendering?
I didn't, because we got rid of Hulu for a while there, and I'd forgotten I hadn't finished it. But then we got Hulu back because Dana and I wanted to watch Next Level Chef with Gordon Ramsay. It's quite good. It's on Fox, but we watched it on Hulu. Excellent. Not anime.
Okay.
Not even anime adjacent, frankly.
Holy cow. Sorry, I have been looking up while we've been talking Violet Evergarden. There are like 3 more like special episodes, more movies. Like
Really?
Netflix went crazy apparently on Violet Evergarden, and now I'm very interested to see how like the quality held up, because I think I've watched the first season and the initial movie.
Which is a movie, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's sweet.
Yep. Now there's a special, there's a recollection, and there's Eternity and the Auto Memory Doll movie.
Okay, that sounds familiar.
It's kind of steampunky, right?
Yeah.
Elements, yes.
Okay. So Fururin is obviously, I can see what you're saying. I think I've seen stills of that show, and I can see where you think the animation or the art looks similar.
Well, and just like
Fururin's
the way
more
that
fantasy, but
yeah, just the way that the cast is like lined up with like the briefcase, like kind of the wind in the background, and like the over the shoulder, like just the promos just looked really structurally similar. So I was just interested in that.
Yeah. Oh, fair. So I can just zip through what else I'm watching here. Dana and I are watching Apothecary Diaries, and we're caught up to the most recently dubbed episodes, but we still have we're just not watching in Japanese, so we're always like 3 behind. Watching Delicious in Dungeon, which we've talked about. Dana and I are watching that one as well. I'm watching Solo Leveling.
Shoot, I haven't watched that this week.
It's a episode 7.5, so you can skip it.
Okay.
It's a recap episode.
It's a recap.
Got it. Okay, got it.
Oh, sorry. Sorry. I think it might be the same production company as Mashal, because I read a thing that said like, oh, they did that in MASH like 7 episodes in, and they did a recap episode, which is unnecessary. Sure. So I read an article that said they thought it was the same. But I am watching Mashal season 2. I'm watching a show called Moonlit Fantasy. I forget the Japanese name, but it's
is it Tsukumichi?
Yes, that's the one.
I started an episode of that too.
Yeah, it's good. I'm realizing that I didn't think I had like a particular style of anime that was like my favorite or a particular like type, but I actually think like the fantasy adventuring, like all the shows I really like right now are like Freerun's kind of that way, Delicious in Dungeons that way, Soul Leveling's kind of that way, Unwanted Undead Adventure is definitely that way, Moonlit Fantasies like that, and my new favorite show, Campfire Cooking in Another World, My Absurd Skill, is definitely that mixed with like slice of life and comedy and like it's just so funny and good.
Speaking of that, I forget, did we convince you to watch Sword Art Online, Phil?
Yeah, that was the first anime I ever watched, actually.
That's right. Okay.
Yeah.
It's been a
John
while. I couldn't remember if we've done it or not. It's
Yeah. Yes, I really enjoyed that. John, actually, we were talking about it on a pod you weren't on, and he's like, I was like, yeah, you're the one that told me to watch that. And he was like, that's the show I told you to start with? That doesn't sound, I would not recommend that for like a first time anime watcher. And then we were like, it was probably Andrea. Andrea is probably the one that recommended that to me.
Well, because Chris watched that as one of his like full first animes. It wasn't his like first anime, but he'd done a couple other like, you know, he'd seen pieces of episodes. He did see like one or two full season things with me. This was probably about like his third, and he was like, I really, really enjoyed it.
Yeah.
So I just was like, okay, well, if Chris enjoyed it, I feel like Phil would too.
No, and I did. Yeah. No, it was really good. And then watching Bukigiri. It's like a very strange show about some kid who goes back home to his old high school, and it's like run by martial arts gangs that are always trying to like get in fights with each other. And then he's like meets this sort of like Japanese genie. It's strange. It's fun. It's actually MAPPA does it in like one of the lesser known shows. MAPPA also does Campfire Cooking in Another World, My Absurd Skill. We're both really good, but I will say the main character of Bukigiri is like not super likable, so that's not great. But there's a lot of good supporting characters that are likable, and the animation and art's really cool. So, I watched a couple episodes of Metallic Rouge, which is pretty cool, but it's a little overly serious, so I can't watch too much of it at once. Summertime Rendering, I'm getting back into, and then I started a manhwa that I read somewhere online was better than Solo Leveling in that reviewer's opinion. And it's like really good. And it's getting an anime later this year sometime, but it's called Omniscient Reader, something like that. Yeah. But super, super good. It's kind of like I'll find the actual title, but
sounds familiar.
I remember seeing it around. I think it was recommended to me always.
Yeah. Omniscient.
Is it literally just Omniscient Reader?
Omniscient Reader's Viewpoint.
Okay.
Viewpoint.
So it's kind of like, I don't want to say anything about it. It's super good though. But I can see where people are comparing it a little bit to Solo Leveling.
Okay.
Sure.
But it's quite good. So
nice. That's quite a list. I don't know how you find the time, Phil. That's
my kids are a little older than your guys's, so you know, it gives me a little more time, and I'm a little less exhausted at night than you guys probably are. But
it works if you got shows that are currently airing. Like, so I would say, like, if you can have a couple shows that are currently going on, you know,
exactly,
and you kind of have an episode a night you can watch of something,
right?
Space it out, so. Honestly.
Or the other thing that I tend to do is a lot of these shows drop new episodes on like Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. So my weekends have been a little more anime heavy, and I stay up later on the weekends anyway, and I can knock out all my shows. And sometimes if I don't watch them, then I have them for the next week. So it actually, to your point, most of them are actively airing, and I'm caught up. So I'm not. I mean, there's a couple shows like Moonlit Fantasy. I have a lot of episodes to catch up on, and Summertime Rendering, and this new Campfire Cooking show. So I have some shows I'm like binging through, and some shows I can only watch once a week, and Solo Leveling gives us a recap show, and that, and then that's one less show to watch. So find the time.
Phil, you're tapping on your desk a lot.
Oh shit.
Yep.
I can hear it in your mind.
Just do this. How's that sound?
Yeah, but then it still sounds great, but you can't move your hands on the thing, because every time you move your hands on the thing.
I was gonna say, don't.
You can
don't
actually
get
hear it? Okay.
Yeah.
I can't
Don't
move
get
at all. Sorry, Andrea.
Oh, I was just gonna say, don't get passionate or excited about anything. Just Phil starts, and then I watched.
I just need to hold it. I just need to hold it in a spot I can hold it for, like, the whole
There
time.
you go.
All you need is a little arm, like I got right here.
Yeah.
This arm. See, it looks like you have a desk right there. It would just
I do.
clamp right on it. and
Probably.
then-
But it would still have the same issue, right? Where I would be tapping on it and stuff.
No, I mean, get that the travel between, there'll be a padding on the clamp to your desk. By the time it goes through, like, it's, a lot further from the microphone then.
Okay. What if I put it on the padding of my belly?
And that might do it.
That might
If
do
you're-
it. Well, I
So
can't move
far,
it.
so good.
It won't stay. I still have to keep a hand on it, but I thought maybe that would
We're
cushion
gonna know if
the
Phil gets hungry during this podcast.
right. Let's go with
You have
this.
to act
if
all
this-
embarrassed then
If this is okay for the moment,
per anime. You gotta be all embarrassed.
Yes, I was gonna say.
right?
Okay,
So,
well, yeah, that's a great list there, Phil. Yeah, well, I look forward to when Apothecary is finally done. We can talk about that on the show.
Yeah.
That should be a good episode. And then we have a while on Delicious in Dungeons, so
Yeah, we
we'll
do.
just have to keep on a truck in there. Free Ren, I'm really liking so far. And then, yeah, I'm trying to figure out another show probably that Ash and I would watch together. So
Sure.
we either Elfin Lead, which we kind of wanted to watch, or Summertime Rendering, which we did
sure.
start before. So
Summertime rendering.
something else.
I'm like halfway through that. It's weird. It's good, but
I
Yeah.
definitely got that
strange.
mixed up in my head for a second with Summer Wars. So
Oh yeah, very different.
yeah,
Yeah. Yeah, I kind of I also, God, we need to talk about, because these two things cross in my mind sometimes as well, but they're also different, is Heavenly Delusion still. Still didn't talk about
yeah.
that, just because it doesn't, the end of season 1, from my understanding, and where the manga has currently left off are not in the same spot.
right.
So that's just frustrating, but
Yeah.
that's I've been recently man, there's nothing that I'm really, really engaged in.
Sure.
I just absolutely am absorbed in. But when I was reading through Heavenly Delusion, that was one of them.
Okay.
I need a thing like that. That was so good.
Yep.
So
I completely forgot. I stayed up until 2 a.m. the other night, getting caught up on Suitor Armor, the webtoon.
Oh, nice.
Whoo, dang! I had a lot of episodes to catch up on. That was a maze.
Okay,
That storyline was really, really good. So, anybody's looking for a new / get back into webtoon, so very highly recommend Suitor Armor.
All right.
I wonder if that's one that she's read or not. She hasn't checked in on her webtoons in a while, I don't think.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm trying to slowly pick one at a time to get caught back
Yeah.
up on.
Yeah.
Because I was trying to read a couple episodes here and there, and I was just failing. So I was just let's just go one at a time and knock them out. Because I missed that.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm trying to think. I don't think Dana ever did Suitor Armor. I don't
it's so good.
But she watches it. She reads a ton of them, but I think maybe Lore Olympus is the only one that is still an actively going one from back in the day. A lot of hers, the ones she started way back years ago, I've finished. So
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, she should get into Suitor Armor. She'd like it.
Speaking of manga and manhwa, I have a review of one to do. I just finished it up. So let's see, I'll full screen for a second so people can see it a little bit more. So Smoking Behind the Supermarket with You,
Cool.
Volume 1. Published by Square Enix. It is written and drawn by Jinushi is the name they use here. It's a cute story. It's kind of a, for adults sort of romantic comedy kind of thing.
okay.
The premise is essentially, if I can go back to this normal layout. The premise is this guy works for a company and, gets treated poorly, has a rough go. On his way home, he goes to this one supermarket, and there's this girl that is a cashier there that, like a clerk that is so cheerful and just kind of always puts him in a good mood. So he goes through that checkout, and she's like kind of his recharge, and just sort of inspires him to keep working and doing his best and all that sort of thing. So he does that, and whatever. He ends up one day, she's like not there, and someone calls him from behind the store basically because he's looking for a place to smoke, and they don't have it says no smoking out front now. Mm-hmm. So the employee invites him back to where they smoke, and then they have a smoke together. He starts building a relationship with this woman, and I don't want to give anything away, but I will say that the relationship he starts building with her and the store clerk kind of evolve in an interesting way. Yeah, I don't know. It's cute. It's fun. It's easy to read. There's an obvious thing in this that needs to make sense, because we've gone on to, I read the whole volume 1. Mm-hmm. I honestly thought this might be like a one-shot thing, but no, there's going to be a volume 2. And there's a really obvious thing that needs explaining. And I can't believe we got to the end of volume 1 and I don't know why, there's no explanation for it. So I'm conflicted whether I keep going or not. It's a cute story. It's fun characters, but yeah.
Is smoking a popular pastime in Japan, would you say?
I would say it's more prevalent than in the West.
You think so?
In Japan and Korea for sure, because you can. So some things changed recently. When things were shut down, like 2020 and stuff like that, when things reopened, they did use some of that to rework some laws, to my understanding, in Japan, and it's now more difficult for places to allow smoking in restaurants and such. So there's less of it.
They're still smoking in restaurants and such. Oof.
Yeah. So when we were there in last in 2014 or whatever, you could still some places would have sections, smoking section kind of thing or whatever.
Sure.
But if you're in a bar, if there's an ashtray out, basically you could smoke. So, and then the weird thing is outside is they don't like you smoking in just the open air. Just you don't catch people walking down the street smoking.
Okay.
There are smoking sections, zones, areas. Like if there's a festival or something, there'll be like a tent that the smokers all go into.
Great.
Just
keep that. Yeah.
Circling.
So it's more like it's more like you need to be in, like you to be in a place that's ventilated, so be inside or whatever, and everything's filtered that way.
Yeah. So like enclosed but ventilated.
Yeah. Or if you're outdoors, it's just here's your spot. So
I wonder if it's to cut down on people throwing their cigarette butts everywhere. Because isn't Japan by and large a very they keep it real clean, cities and stuff, sanitation's a big deal over there.
Yeah, I don't think you'd have honestly much of a problem with people throwing their cigarette butts around in Japan. This doesn't happen. Just littering is just not a thing. They even have in this, a guy gives her a gift. It's a pocket ashtray.
Oh,
so
funny.
It's a little thing that people carry around or whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Interesting.
There are very few garbage cans in Japan.
Really?
Very few. And there's no garbage anywhere. People will carry it for all day to find, and then they find a spot where they, get to wherever there's a garbage. So
interesting. That's good. I suppose, you got a lot of people living in a little amount of space in some cases with some of the big cities, so.
Right.
It's just culturally instilled in people from tiny. You just, this is everyone's space. We share it.
You would never litter.
Trash goes where trash goes. And it's very specific. It goes so far, it's, I guess, the way that if you have a house and you're going to put out your recycling, It's a very specific way in which you must fold up your recycling and a specific string you use to tie it together. Like it's very precise.
Yeah, sounds like it. Okay, that's cool.
Anyways, the smoking behind the supermarket with you, I liked it. I had a lot of fun with it. I think it needs to be an explanation for this one thing that I won't spoil it for anyone. And
do you feel like
I don't know.
if it was just like one more, like if it was like a two-parter, you would be inclined to finish it just to find out, but you'd be less inclined if it was like a multi-part?
Yeah, it's a good question. Like how many, because this is clearly a romance thing. How many volumes can it sustain? Because, I was hoping they just sort of get together at the end of this and then they'd be done, but no. So yeah, I would like one more volume. I could deal with 2 probably.
Okay.
But I need I need to know that this main character really needs eye exam or something, and his prescription's out of date or something.
Interesting clues.
Yeah, there needs to be a thing in the background, like I don't know. It also bothers me sometimes. I always bring up Twilight for these things, Stephanie Meyer. If you read those, you're supposed to be a young woman putting yourself in the shoes of Bella. You're like, oh, I'm nothing special. I'm clumsy and whatever. I'm not the prettiest, but the hottest guy is after me. Actually 2 of them are. So
right.
This is the reverse of that. It's the guy that's just sort of normal.
Sure.
He works hard at work, but he's nothing. Whatever. He's like, I'm kind of old and and all this sort of thing. And then, he's no idea that someone would even be into him. He's like oblivious in this way. So,
Sure.
And
so I also
other 2 women are vampires, and then they.
No,
not the same. Okay.
It just needs to be a thing where I need to understand why this other character is into that person. Like, I want to know, why does Edward care about Bella? In that, I understand, because she's freakishly smells super delicious.
Well, right.
Like, so it's an automatic attraction for Edward, whatever. Right. And then for Jacob, it's like childhood friends and stuff or whatever. So they know each other.
Sure.
I know too much about this story.
Sure.
But the
no, I read them. That's all good. Why did we ever review Twilight? What the heck? We were just falling out of the job there.
Peace out.
Yeah.
Oh, whatever.
Yeah,
I read them, but it was a hate read. Oof.
There were parts that were really cool, and there were parts I was just like, this is terrible. So
it was awful. It's like one of the series that like I started it and had to finish it, but I was just like, oh, you fucking like turning the pages, just God.
Yep.
I can't do that unless it's.
You've seen the movies, though, I assume.
No, I've read the books.
Oh, you have?
And I've seen the movies. Yes.
Oh, you have.
Mm-hmm. I've played the board game.
Oh man, like a super fan.
I've been to like a.
Have you not?
Like
have you not seen his
party.
Cardboard cutout? Like, where have you been, man?
Maybe. But now I need to see it again. Oh, you're just a big Kristen Stewart fan, though, right? Generally.
Watch those hands, John.
Seriously.
I know. I immediately thought of that, but. No. So the story behind that is, okay. So this is completely off topic from anime, but slight deviation here.
That's slight. That's right.
For whatever reason, in high school, someone borrowed me, I think, the first book or something. All of a sudden, people were talking about it, and so I started reading it. And to be able to talk about this with some other people, I read it, and I enjoyed it enough. I'm a sucker for, a romance thing or whatever. Yeah. Like, look at all the manga I read. I read plenty of romancy things.
Yep.
And
no shame.
It was fine. I also do pretty good with embellishing, making things cooler in my head when I'm reading books.
Yep.
So all that, whatever. The movies came out. They were fun. It's like, oh, a guy from Harry Potter's in it. Yeah. That's cool. And So yeah, and it was kind of we like making fun of it because it's silly, but it's, we also got some sort of other enjoyment out of it. Good soundtracks, that kind of thing. And then this cardboard cutout, the FYE or whatever was going out of business, that was near us.
That's
and
right.
Everything's for sale. And there's this cardboard stadium, is this for sale or whatever? And it was whatever discount it was at. And so then I just walked around with the mall, and I've had this Kristen Stewart souvenir ever since.
Nice. I hadn't seen that before, but I dig it.
Yeah.
I just dig the
with
nostalgia of John at an FYE,
Yeah. Wow. Yeah.
right?
I mean,
that's been a hot
those-
minute.
Yep.
Those
Think about
were
the
the
last time
fun
you were there,
anime
in a
days, too.
Sam Goody or
Oh yeah. Sam Goody.
Fun. What were all the different names? Yeah, it was Sam Goody, Funkoland. Was that Funkoland
Yeah.
one?
Yep.
Funkoland? I don't know that one.
I do. I remember that. FYE. Yeah.
So,
Oh man.
anyways, yeah, I mean, but yeah, it was. I loved going to them. I should have bought more. Honestly, maybe they'd still be around, but all of us collectively should have bought some more.
No, I don't think they would be. Don't worry. Don't beat yourself up, John. I think just
okay,
streaming killed those stores more than anything.
I know. Well, yeah, because people chose convenience, over, longevity.
Oh, hey, I bought
Over
plenty.
owning
I mean, I know you're not. You didn't say Phil chose convenience over longevity, but I am a person. I bought a ton of crap at Sam Goody and stuff in college and high school.
Yeah.
Movies and half my DVD collection is from those stores. So
Yeah. Well, the
save
fact
them.
that you still have a DVD collection, that's what's
oh
important.
yeah.
So, okay, one news story before we get into the main topic here. I just wanted to share this with everybody. I think I can share the screen and we'll kind of look through it together. All right, so Demon Slayer movie is in the theater.
Oh yeah.
Sort of, I say movie kind of, loosely or whatever, because it's a collection of episodes, really.
Yeah.
But this is from MSN.com. Demon Slayer's box office success proves anime is here to help save movie theaters. It's a little bit of to me, that's a bold headline.
Yeah. A little bit clickbaity.
But yeah, it's second in the box office for the weekend, beat out just by the Bob Marley biopic. So 11.5 million. I guess the difference here is that per theater revenue was awesome. So it's not on as many screens as some other things, not as widely distributed, but people went to see it when the shows that were available. So see, anime had by far the best per screen average of any wide release film this weekend, generating just shy of $6,000 on each of the 1,949 screens it played on. It's very important because more tickets sold per screen equals more popcorn sold per theater, all that sort of thing. So, 1,900 screens isn't all that many.
No.
So, yeah.
No.
But anyways, this is here. I only know one person that's seen it. Have you guys made it out to it or planned to or anything like that?
I thought about it and the timing didn't work out, but I am very excited to see it. It was really cool seeing last year's in theater, but
yeah,
I'm excited to watch it though.
Yeah.
On the small screen.
If Dune wasn't coming out, I might have tried to make the attempt to go in and see it. But also Ashley's not as, she's not into Demon Slayer, so
Sure.
Yeah, it makes sense.
Dune is going to be my primary focus. I don't know when or how I'm going to go see it, but that's definitely. I'm really excited. I've been reading a bunch of Timothée Chalamet, Denis Villeneuve, I think is how you say his name. It's close. I've been reading a bunch of their interviews, and I'm super psyched. But if I had all the time in the world, if I had all the time in the world, this would absolutely be number 2.
Right. Yeah, so this article is kind of going on to try to say, that just how anime movies have been doing well in the theaters and calling out the Boy and the Heron from before and Dragon Ball movie. So I don't know. I hope more keep showing up. You know, the numbers are far off from a lot of other things, but as confidence maybe grows in the idea of having the anime would be successful in the theater here. Maybe they start putting more screens, put a little more promotional material behind it, because, you know, as this article points out, this is not really factored in to the revenue requirements to make their product successful. It's sort of just like icing on the cake. You know, now they're not expecting Demon Slayer to make it or break it based upon a theater showing. No. They're, you know. So.
Yeah, it's like a little fun thing they did. When I see that headline, I think, okay, anime is going to save theaters. Who's going to save anime? Because I keep seeing all these articles about, you know, animators. A lot of it stemming from this MAPPA stuff, but animators, you know, either not being paid enough or work too hard or with low pay, or like the younger generation of animators, like not enough people going into it, and so like the current generation are like retiring or close to retiring, and like no one's going to be left to like be fully trained to pick up all the slack. But then it makes me think, if anime is doing so well in the West and so much more popular than it used to be like 20 years ago, isn't that just like a ton more viewers and like Crunchyroll subscriptions, and then these animation studios should be theoretically making more money that they can pay their animators more and like hire and train more people. I mean, the Japanese government is even apparently trying to incentivize studios to hire and train more animators, and it doesn't seem like it seems to continue to be an issue that they're writing articles about.
So I feel like, yes, that's totally logical, and that would like be the average person's assumption. But then it makes me think of when we were, and I mean, it's been like a year now, but when we were like reading through this big like explosive article that came out about Marvel, about how they were like just under the gun to like keep churning out content because it's so popular. We have to do it now. Yeah. And they weren't like paying anybody enough. Like directors would show up and they were like, I don't even have like a finished script, but I'm just shooting stuff. And like people were like, I'm working like 16-hour days to like, you know, green screen and CGI this stuff. And like, you know, so that actually makes me really nervous that that's going to be another situation like that, where like it gets too hot too fast. Yeah, it gets too hot too fast, and people are going to cut corners to maximize the profit.
Right. And then the owners of the production companies are just pocketing that money. They're not like
they're not actually investing it back in to like it's a very like short-sighted, short-term, like the market is hot, let's capitalize, instead of like let's play a longer game and be actually smart about this.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that they're necessarily going to follow the exact same trajectory, but I just had like little alarm bells that were like, oh yeah, damn.
Yeah, a lot of times, you know, I think it is a mismanagement of business in a lot of ways, because, I mean, I've been following a lot of stuff going on in the gaming industry right now. And in that, it's one of those things from the outside, you'd be like, how can this not be super successful? You see it everywhere. It's really popular. You know, PlayStations are selling like crazy. They couldn't find them in the store for so long. How can there be anything but great news when it comes to this? And then when there is bad news, or it's like shocking. Well, if you look at was leaked in some documents, the budget behind the Spider-Man games, behind the games is like larger than any of the films. Like it's like $300+ million for a Spider-Man game. So if they sell, you know, if they sell 11 million copies, which is very successful, for $70 a pop, you know, like, are you getting back your, you know, say you spent 5 years developing it and $300 million? Like, these are just astronomical costs that have to be recouped. And now when places are trying, like Disney are trying to recoup costs in a streaming service, like Andrea is saying, they're trying to shell out content. because no longer is the content the product, the service is the product. And so in anime, you're looking at two different businesses. You've got the business of Crunchyroll and Netflix and streaming services. But you also have the business of the anime production company. And you're right. Japan is having trouble making their own anime because they're not having enough kids. Their population is very old. They're dying out. And so they have to outsource. So outsourcing a whole bunch when other countries are often training up people to create this content. But the other thing is they're making all this stuff. It's super popular. It's like, right, they should be sitting on a gold mine. You got all this content. Not only does Japan want it, the Southeast Asia, but the West does now as well. It should be great. But again, they're relying on selling a product to a streaming service in the West. That price that's like a made up price. Whatever they're giving them for that show, because how do you quantify how many subscribers you are retaining or gaining based upon the collection of one new show? So it messes up this whole economy of things when it's going to have a collapse at some point. We're going to have be like, and how could we not see this coming or whatever? We're going to have it where Crunchyroll and Netflix can't spend more money on another show that costs them quite a lot, whatever, because they're just not seeing more people sign up. They're not making more money now anymore on this. And so all of a sudden there's going to see a giant shrink in demand for all this stuff.
Or they have to raise their prices, I guess.
People are going to go out of business.
I would, see, I'm just one person, but I would pay more than I do for if Crunchyroll's listening. I mean, I would pay more for my Crunchyroll subscription than I do. Like, I pay for to be able to watch it on. I actually increased it so I could watch it on more devices, more than one device. So the next one up from the basic is 4 devices because Dana likes to watch shows sometimes too now, and so But I think it still is only $15 a month. But and that's a decent amount for a streaming service, but I use it all the time. It's at this point, I just consume so much anime content that for me, that's a bargain. I don't know. If they raised it $5 a person for across the board, I don't know. I wouldn't care that much. Maybe some people would just on the principle of the thing, but you hear about with free tiers go away and they do an ad tier, all different stuff. Everybody always, has their preference and, and then it's they're not the only one that raises the price. Amazon just raises their price. If you want to keep it be ad free,
Netflix
got to pay some more. Netflix. Yep. So it's it's just one of those things every streaming service is trying to grow. Every business that's publicly traded is trying to grow. It's all the metrics that matter is growth. And so if you're trying to grow, raising your price is not welcoming to new customers.
True.
And I agree, but they got to find where that cap is, where people start leaving. And there's a lot of people in the anime community that are ready to do this is too much. This is ridiculous. Plus, I don't like the way it's translated anyways. I'm just going to go and sail the high seas. I'm just going to go rip it off of, Pirate Bay or whatever.
Sure.
So,
I suppose. Yeah.
So there's that they always have to watch out for too.
Yeah. I guess what I'm trying to say is if the trade-off is not a collapse or not getting good because there's so many good shows coming out, it's just I don't want those to stop, and so I personally am willing to pay more for those to keep happening. And maybe that's not the answer. I mean, clearly it's not the answer, but I don't want. Just
gonna have to see if the streaming for everything is sustainable for everything. I think music's proven itself, right? Music's the thing that went streaming first, and people, we still have lots of musicians, right? I mean, do we have less creativity in the music scene now or anything like that, or less access to music, or was there a big collapse or anything like that? If there is, I don't know about it. seems to be going along well.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure somebody somewhere has made like an argument about less creativity, but I wouldn't say anybody could make an argument about a collapse.
Sure.
I've heard singers need to tour more to make a lot of money where they used to be able to rely more on album sales, because I have heard, and I don't know how true this is, that compared to album sales, like the money they get off their song being streamed is like pennies on the dollar from what they used to make. But then they make a crap load touring, but that's physically demanding, and I don't know. So,
But the difference is, before, your access to people was extremely handicapped to a record label. Sign a deal with a record label, make music you like. They make a deal with a radio to play your song, whatever. Now you don't need any of that. So you make less per streaming, but you also can monetize your YouTube and your TikTok and whatever you have.
It's true.
Plus you sell merch, plus you tour, and you have no middleman really, other than tech companies.
That's true.
You know.
Yeah.
So
cool, good, because I like Spotify, so I don't want to give it up.
Yeah, I don't know. We'll see. I just, you're right. There's lots of doom and gloom things about the anime industry. I just think it's going to have I don't know. What we have right now is not going to last forever, I don't think. And I hope the result is that just there's a more selective nature to what gets brought over and made. You know, so the higher quality things come out. But it could be the other way around, where they know the top market is still that shonen market, and a lot of the other things disappear, and they really focus on bringing the shonen over.
That'd be a bummer.
I think that would be a detriment.
Yeah. I mean, there's lots of stuff that I personally don't care to see, which if they didn't make that, I mean, if anime studios got choosier with what they decide to make, like, I mean, right now it might be, or in the last, 5-ish years, it might have been like, make anything. Well, let's make everything we can. But maybe, like, get to a point where studios are like, no, we're not going to make that. Or you have to really pitch a show really hard for a studio exec to be like, yes, green light that. I don't know.
Yep.
So that'd be okay. But as long as, to your point, it isn't like all super popular, like shonen style stuff.
Right. Yep. All right. We should get into our main topic here.
Yeah. Let's do it.
Promare. So I have this here. Let's see. It should run.
Promare.
Promare, Studio Trigger film. I saw this back.
Just for all the viewers out there who haven't seen the movie, that is not a woman.
Yeah, I was surprised by that as well.
Yeah.
If you're watching, I have to pull up some of the names of people here, but that's Leo Fotia.
Fotia, yep.
Yep, Leo.
And it's a movie I didn't see coming. I can definitely see, I've watched a lot of their stuff. I see elements of Kill la Kill in this. I see elements of Gurren Lagann. To me, that's why something like Delicious in Dungeon is so different. This is what I go to for Studio Trigger. Even like some of the things I can see after this, maybe them being the studio that's selected for Cyberpunk and that sort of thing. So, you guys hadn't seen it before.
Right.
So, what... Andrea, what'd you think of it?
I thought it was a lot of fun. I definitely immediately was hit with like Gurren Lagann vibes, and Kill la Kill a little bit later. But I very much love this studio's like use of color. Like I feel like they latch on to like a couple of like primary colors for something, and then those colors just like get varied around the screen. There's like a lot of different variation of those. And so I visually love what they do here and with a lot of their anime. I thought the storyline was pretty solid. There were twists that I saw coming, and then there were like one or two that I was like, oh, okay, you got me on the extra twist. Like I saw the main one, and then like you did like the extra with the main villain. There was stuff I saw right away, and then there was like the extra burn that I was like, oh, okay. So I thought it was fun. It was a good clean, like start to finish story that I enjoyed.
Nice. Phil?
I called it a fun, confusing mecha anime.
Half mecha.
Half mecha. I felt like it was like hard to categorize and kind of hard to explain. Like the storyline, I was telling Dana, the storyline is somewhat straightforward, but then also it like doesn't always completely make sense, and I guess it doesn't like have to. But I definitely got sorry.
You have to give us examples.
Yeah. So I was kind of getting like strong to your guys' point, Gurren Lagann vibes, especially the last like maybe 3 or 4 episodes of Gurren Lagann where things just went off the rails and they were like, you know, fighting underwater in like an alternate dimension. I mean, it was just like got to the point where they're just like, we're gonna do, you know, just like push forward and like gain these new power. This was years ago. I watched Gurren Lagann, but I just remember it being like they're just like making stuff up now at this point. And I don't know. I just it's like this show. I feel like they're like, we have a storyline and we're just gonna say like this is how this world. We're just gonna do it and just make up a bunch of crap and use that as a vehicle to show the really cool action and animation scenes. But I just anytime I don't know. It's like at the very end when they, you know, when everything's sort of resolved. It's like, okay, it's similar to a lot of anime we see. It's just like, okay, I mean, I guess you say this is how it is, so then that's how it is. But it doesn't necessarily like make sense in our understanding of the world and the way physics work and the universe and everything like that. So, you know, I don't know. I might not be making good sense, but
well, I mean,
yes and no, because like we had the Promare coming from like a parallel dimension.
Yeah.
So, like, they wouldn't necessarily work the way that physics works.
True. It doesn't. Yeah, I'm not saying it has to. I think that, and this is a movie. I'm saying they don't always go into full. It's like very offhandedly explained, which a lot of shows and movies do in anime. It's like, oh, okay, if you say so. Like this very brief explanation for this really wild theory, but just I don't know. Well, but I enjoyed it still.
I have to say, I was disappointed when I saw some of your texts, and it seemed like you had probably watched this over the course of 3 settings.
Yeah.
And
I also did.
See, to me, this is a ride. You got to sit down, strap in, gummy up, and experience beginning to end.
That's what I wanted to do, and the weekend just didn't work out that way.
Yeah.
Same.
I mean, if you're going to this for... normally, I think if you're going to any Studio Trigger show for realism, you're in the wrong spot.
Sure.
But to me, what they usually manage to do is throw the absurd at you, and then eventually you're hit with something poignant or a larger message or something like that. That's all like disguised in this insanity. And so... I mean, normally if you watch the opening of Kill la Kill, you completely remove the reality of physics and like human survivability and everything. Like people are just bowling pinned across through wall, like just in absolute nonstop insanity. And, but I think that they set those parameters quickly and well, usually. It's like, this is going to be zany and over the top. Don't expect realism, but you'll find heart. And I think, to me, that's what this is. It exemplifies. It's a feast for the eyes. It's a stellar soundtrack. And then it's just a message of like, it's kind of, in this, to me, it's sort of you're getting caught up in life and in social media and all this sort of thing, and people are just losing it. And so it's sort of like the hate spreading throughout society is that sort of thing. And then we find out that there's a deeper cause to it. And it's just sort of like, what if we could have this cathartic sort of burning of the inner demons, just a purification of the known universe and just realize we're all one and can start. It's just sort of like a happy, peaceful, hopeful sort of kumbaya kind of thing.
Yeah.
And that's the movie.
Yeah, I guess that. Yeah, I like that. Well, that's why these movies should be watched like with these, especially these kinds of movies. I think you should watch with like a group of people or some friends or whatever, because you're perceiving it in a certain way, but it's nice when you can like discuss it right away. And I'm glad we are when we're doing that now. And so I didn't think about it that way, but I like that, John. Yeah, maybe I was trying to take it too like literally. And that's what when I said earlier, it's like I don't know that it matters that to me like some of these didn't necessarily completely make sense or wasn't completely explained or in a way that was made a ton of realistic sense. But to your point, and it doesn't need to be like it's not trying to it's not trying to be this realism type anime.
Right.
Yeah, but I mean, it can also hit you. And that's like, you know what I mean? Like, it's something that you felt as you watched it and you were kind of like, I don't know if I'm quite there. And it maybe because of the way you viewed it, maybe because, we're not like watching it together. And there was like, a quick sort of like, oh, like, I don't really get that. And then John would have jumped in like, oh, but like, it's so cool because X. Yeah.
Right. And I think you're right, John, watching it all in one sitting would have been helpful. I do agree. I also, I don't know. I mean, there's action throughout, but like that first, I feel like the movie is really kind of bookended. There was like a great opening 20 minutes with some super fun when they did the first fire rescue. That was awesome. That might have been my favorite part of the movie, actually, the first 20 minutes of it. And yeah, and then the end was obviously crazy and wild, but yeah, I
actually agree with that. I loved the first like kind of chunk of exposition. I thought for Studio Trigger, like this was like they didn't jump into the absurd as quickly as they usually do, and I actually kind of liked, pardon the pun, the slow burn, where like we just got like the people just sitting in traffic, like get like building it up, like I could feel it, I could viscerally feel just like the burn coming. And once it actually happened, I was just totally like, yeah, of course, this is the way like they would explain human combustion. And then later we got the like sort of supernatural like otherworldly explanation. But like I bought into the premise right away because I actually felt that like tense setup was so good. And then I loved the first fire rescue. It was excellent. Great way to introduce our characters.
Studio Trigger loves to do like characters' motivational catchphrase. Like in Gurren Lagann, they did that. Sure. And then this main character,
believe
talking about his firefighters' burning heart. It's just like I get it, dude. I get it. He's like, it's cool.
Okay, did you guys watch this in English or Japanese?
English.
I did watch this one in English because I figured you guys would.
Sorry.
No, I watched it in Japanese. I mean, I kind of wanted to watch it in English this time just so I could soak up as much of the fidelity in my face as possible.
Sure.
But yeah, I watched it in Japanese and love the Japanese cast in this. So.
Oh, okay, sure.
But okay, cool movie, so Andrea, what was the twist you saw coming and what was the one you didn't?
Oh, that Clay Forsyth was Burnish. I saw that coming.
Yeah. Okay. Oh, you did?
Yeah.
Oh. I thought you meant that he was the bad guy.
Yeah. Yeah, I definitely saw that coming. I saw that coming a mile away. And I figured out like pretty quick that I felt like he was going to be Burnish.
Oh, man, really? I didn't think that.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, but
what was the twist you didn't see coming?
Sorry. I have that backwards. I did not see that he was Burnish, but once I did, I saw coming that the fire, that he started the fire that he rescued Gallows from.
Oh, sure. Okay, yeah.
Yep.
So like there were like interspersed things that I was like, he is the bad guy. I didn't until like I saw him absorb. I was like, he's not. And then I thought he was that he never ended up rescuing Gallows, that he just like caused that whole fire. Because it was like everybody's limbs that turned to ash that sort of like gave me this feeling of like, I don't know. I don't know why I looked at that frame and thought his arm was ash because he's turned that fire.
Okay. I thought one of the most interesting parts about this movie, and I don't know if they meant to be this, but it's like interesting, like ethical conundrums. It's like hard to know because it's like on the one hand, it's like, well, I mean, the Earth is gonna die. Is it ethically? I mean, everyone's except for 10,000 people are gonna die. So, I mean, using these people to power a ship, not great. I mean, it's really bad, but also like, but it was hard to parse out. You know, like, I mean, I don't know. So like, he's like a villain, but also like, what did cause this rift? Like, I mean, it wasn't this guy didn't cause the rift. I mean, he kind of became evil trying to fix the problem, maybe, or something. I don't know. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I don't remember what was. There's an explanation given for what caused the rift to begin with.
I feel like
melding of
the scientist dude said something super fast when they discovered his ship that he poured his consciousness into.
Sure.
Yeah.
I felt like he had like one sort of like very brief that I was like, oh, this makes sense, but I can't recall it now. You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah, I wish I could remember what that was, but you're right. There is I think we see in the naivete of our protagonist or whatever, but also that sort of, you know, the idea that a hero is going to not accept these sort of terms. He's like, you know, well then fix it, then stop the mag. Well, this is the easier way. This is so it's a talk against taking the easy route and sacrificing a bunch of people versus like you'll do the right thing, and that's what you're gonna do. That's it, you know. And
Well, oh, sorry.
It's also I was just gonna say it's also like I think an argument for like connection and not solely depending on yourself to solve a problem. Like maybe somebody else has an idea, because I mean Gallows keeps saying like you should have just like cooled down the magma. Like why aren't we solving that problem? And Clay is always like, I tried.
Right.
We don't really know that he tried, but let's just say for argument's sake that he did. He obviously didn't figure it out. But guess who does figure it out? Leo.
Right.
Yeah.
Like we have somebody who eventually is like, I got all the pieces necessary, you know, because I interacted with all of these different people.
Right.
And Clay was just sort of like, I'm God and I should just solve the problem.
Sure. Yeah, but Leo and Gallo wouldn't have figured it out if all the stuff hadn't transpired with what's his face trying to like make the ship and subjugate the Burnish, and because
we don't know that now, because maybe they would have like worked together and they would have discovered like another solution because they worked together.
But they never actually suppressed the magma through any sort of like scientific method, which is what that Cray or whatever was trying to do things. They did it by like sealing a rift in space time and like burning the whole world. And I just never want. I just don't think that would happen.
Safely. They did it safely. Everybody
no doubt. I'm just saying. I'm not trying to.
It's not a conventional solution.
Like I'm a what's the bad guy?
Cray apologist.
Yeah. I'm not trying to be a Cray apologist here. I'm just saying, like, it all kind of happened the way it had to happen. Maybe, you know, that's assuming that he really tried to fix the magma and was unsuccessful.
Well, I mean, he starts things off by, you know, here's a possible solution, and then fixating on that solution regardless of the consequences, and including killing the person that comes up with the initial methodology for this. Killing the doctor that, you know,
he's
not great.
He's lied over and over and over again. He obviously lies initially about like saving Gallows from a fire. He lies about like his partner because he steals all of his technology. He lies to Inez's sister that, you know, we're not going to like cause human life, like loss of life, and like we're, you know, not gonna leave without your sister. Like there's so much like lying happening.
I'm not again, I don't think he's a good guy. I'm not trying to be an apologist. I do think it's interesting though. At one point, the one woman says something to him like, "Oh, well, we shouldn't be doing this," or "Are we sure we should be doing this?" And he's like, says something to the effect of, "You're going to need to be able to make the tough decisions if you're going to survive in this new world," which is like a total stereotypical villain thing to say. But also, if you're thinking that your only option is to go and like repopulate the earth and make this, like, that is true to some extent. Like, I think people who have had to like, are faced with these like world-ending threats who need to find a solution that saves some of humanity, but not all, in various movies and media over the years. That is a true thing where the people who are going to lead, humanity into, salvation do have to they're not usually like good people. They're like people who have the ability to do what it takes to like save, to like kind of make the hard decisions. But again, I think that you're right. He fixated on that solution. He didn't need to probably go down that route. He did a lot of really shady stuff along the way, and so not great. But I just think it's an interesting ethical like discussion.
Did anybody
in like
else
a world-ending event?
Yeah. Did anybody else get like Magneto vibes?
Oh, yeah.
Where like they're mutants and they build a machine that runs on mutants to save. But in this case, he's saving humans instead of like saving other mutants. Like I totally got like where Magneto is gonna like suck up Rogue and use like her life force to like turn everybody into mutants, like in his machine. Like he was willing to sacrifice her, to, like create this like new world. That's sort of like the vibe I got, except for some reason Cray was like, I'm going to save humans instead of
yeah. I don't think the movie did a great job of explaining why Cray was like, no, I was able to repress my desire to burn, and like why wouldn't you seem to, you're extremely powerful Burnish, wouldn't you want to be with the Burnish people and like protect the Burnish and try to save the Burnish? It was just strange.
Right. There was no like integration attempt, no like can we figure out how to coexist or like figure out what to do with this? Yeah.
Like he's oppressing his people that are just like him. It's just strange.
Yeah. Well, I think the issue with him is like, if you're looking at him as a good person, if you're looking at him as yourself being a good person, you are assuming maybe some pure intentions. Like, where are the pure intentions? Like, oh, the earth is going to blow up. We need to save who we can, and this is my goal. When I think the goal is more, no, I want to rule over who I can. Yeah. So I'm taking 10,000 people, and now they're going to be mine to do it with what I please.
True.
I mean, it could also be like a ridding himself of fear. Like, he obviously felt like he needed to suppress his true nature to like A, fit in, and B, now rise to like the position of power he has, and he's probably terrified that like I show this, I lose it all. But if I take these 10,000 people to another world and I am their savior, they're maybe going to be so grateful to me that it's not even going to matter.
King.
Yeah.
Yeah. One more thing about Cray. That dude's office, which then turned into his like the captain's chair of his ship, that was sweet. I was like,
it was.
That was cool.
Yes. I love things that play with scale and show grand scale. And so this is another thing that does that. Going underground, it's like, wow, those are big doors. And, it's like, they're ginormous doors. It's like, no way this construction project ever happens without everyone knowing about it.
Right.
It's just like miles beneath the city. And it's like, but
I even thought the rebuilt city 30 years later was, with this whole modern like fireproof city, was like, that's a lot to build in 30 years, but it's fine. It's a show. It's a cartoon.
Well, but that's again setting up the whole idea. Like other shows, I would have problems with. So I would be like, wait a minute, how did that really happen? But then, given the insane nature of this show
Yeah.
and the world they're giving us, then it's like,
Yeah.
oh, that's perfectly fine. I don't question it at all.
Agreed. Do we think that those two main characters are they intending to? They just like good friends, or was I know I don't know. I just got vibes every once in a while that they were like they might like each other, but then Gallo like and that girl kind of had a moment on the lake.
I think they just leave it open to interpretation. For for me, like in my mind, it's like they're gonna keep putting out fires together, saving people, and they're hopefully they fall in love with each other and are together and happy and whatever. But that's why I hope, because she he clearly was like going in for the kiss, and she clearly is like,
oh, you mean
hell,
okay? So yeah.
Well, that's what I originally thought. Then, like how he was acting, I don't know. There were times when I feel like he and
Leo
were like having moments, not quite as
well. I mean, if you do the mouth no if you count that, I guess.
No, I don't even count that actually. I think there was just times when they felt like they were like, I don't know. That's all good. No judgment. That's all good. They might just be very like fluid with their sexuality.
I guess I don't know. They have to become close teammates all of a sudden.
Mm-hmm.
They have to really work together, and
right, maybe.
This is a thing where they then explore in Darling in the Franxx, like the emotional connection required for two people to like pilot the same vessel.
Right. Mm-hmm. Obviously, it requires a sexual connection.
No, it doesn't. It doesn't.
Oh, it doesn't. Okay. Got it. Okay.
Yeah, I didn't go there mostly because I was so strongly reminded of Gurren Lagann, both in storyline and like character, like the way characters were drawn.
Sure.
That it just everybody seemed to have sort of like a Gurren Lagann counterpart, and so I was,
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So I don't remember. I don't remember their names in Gurren Lagann, but I know who you mean now. Yeah. But that's
Yoko?
quite a difference. Oh, Yoko.
Is the girl's name was like
Ines between Yoko and Kamina. That's what you're talking about.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, right. Like that. I was like there could be a sort of like little brotherish element to Leo. So I was sort of everybody had that sort of like at least strong enough counterpart for me that my mind just stayed there.
Sure. Okay. Fair enough.
Okay.
Why do they do? Not that I have a problem with it. Like boys can look like girls, and girls can look like boys in real life, and whatever. I'm all for it. But what's with occasionally in some anime where it's like, oh, this is a male character. Oh, I didn't get that vibe. There's various shows I've seen where it's like that looks. I mean, they just illustrate it to look very much like a woman, but it's a male character. What is that about?
So
I'm just curious.
I don't have a good answer exactly, other than to say that it is a character type, and in the Japanese language, I do believe there is a word for like in between. Like
androgynous.
Yeah, right.
Oh, okay.
And so I think if you remember Andrea the show Soul Eater, there's a character in there that for translators was a little weird, because when they bring it over to English, they kind of pick what it is going to be when it's sometimes nondescript in the Japanese. It's this androgynous thing in Japanese, and we don't know what to say here, so they
pick a pronoun.
Her, and so I don't know that that's the case here, but it definitely is sort of they play to character types for sure. This studio said when they were told they couldn't have a Lolita character, like a small girl character in Cyberpunk, when they were making this, like, well, there is going to be one or we're not doing the show. And so there was one then. And in this, he's part of the team. You have she's an adult, but she's a pipsqueak, She's
it's like the computer scientist chick. Yeah.
Yeah. So
Yep.
there are character types that are
Right.
just in play. There's the nerdy guy kind of with the glasses that's on the
Yep.
team. You got the
Yep.
hot
Full
shot
haircut,
jock
yeah.
guy. Yeah. And then, you got you got a muscle head. And then this is just another one of the
Wise old
character types
captain.
they kind of
Yep.
play with.
Okay, fair enough. All right,
So
it's interesting.
if anyone has a better answer, for sure, let me know. Cause you know, like where in Japanese culture it comes from, this character type and stuff like that. That would be interesting to know.
Yeah. I was just like curious because it's happened a couple different times where I was like, whoa, okay, I gotta just adjust my thinking here.
I think sometimes it's also, I mean, it just literally comes down to a fan servicey thing. Like a lot of women here that I have spoken to anyways, with so many of them, aren't that into guy on guy. But if you talk to the anime fan community, there definitely
okay. I was like,
is
wait.
a market for guy on guy. So that would be let's see, yaoi. Yaoi is man on man, and yuri is women on women.
Sure.
So I think
I'm not saying
sometimes
this
there's
is
just
bad.
no, I'm just saying sometimes there's an idea in mind in the creation process. I think that it's like this will allow for good shipping. We can do the what if scenario in fans' heads. Like we can see these two together. You make one of them more feminine, one of them a little more masculine, and you can just kind of, if the viewer would like it,
Right.
you can.
If they want to
with
put on that
idea
lens
in your head.
You're giving them enough content to
maybe that's where partially I did have that thought, because it's like they drew that guy so like fairly feminine, which again, it's fine, but it just made me wonder, like, is there a purpose behind that? Like, like trying to make some subtle allusion to whether people want to think like ship them, whatever. I don't know.
Yeah.
I
don't know.
Interesting.
Don't know.
I'll write to the animator, the Studio Trigger people, and see what they have to say about it.
Yeah. Yeah. I'll wait for their response. I'll wait.
Cool.
Yeah, impatiently for the response.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah. No. It's I'd like to know more about it too, but because if you look up pictures from this, immediately you'll find drawings of those two characters.
I'm sure.
Oh, I would have think. Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
Let's see. What else we got to say about Promare? Anything that any themes we haven't tackled, or moments that have to be mentioned, or characters left untouched?
No, I think we covered like a lot of the philosophy that it brought up for me that I wasn't. I mean, I sort of was like vaguely thinking about, and by the end of the movie, it really was kind of in a deeper place than, would have suggested by the start of the movie. The start of the movie was just kind of like sinking into the action. And then by the end, it was like, yeah, how would you weigh like the choice to, in this instance, maybe save the many and sacrifice the few, for crazed decisions. Thinking about like the othering of the Burnish, and like how can we kind of like, remember that these people who seem so foreign to us are us,
right?
So I mean, there was just like a lot of like philosophical considerations that the movie threw out by the end that I was really into, that I think we covered really well.
Yeah, that was interesting too. I had one other. This was supposed to be part of my Cray apologist section, but I'll just add it in. That I will just say, in his defense, if the whole
you keep saying you're not an apologist, and
I
then
know,
and then you hear an apology.
go.
If the whole Earth's core, and like when you think about like the Earth's core and like the mantle, let's say it's the Earth's core and the mantle, it's all like magma and is coming up. I mean, I will say it's much easier to build a massive spaceship and then get 10,000 people off the Earth than it would be to try to put out all that like magma and fire in, because the scale of the Earth is so massive. When you think about like what humans have done in human history in terms of like drilling and mining and stuff, we barely scratched the surface of the Earth's crust. We haven't even gotten close to the mantle. The crust itself is like miles and miles deep, and then. And we haven't even gotten close to anywhere near, and the mantle is like hundreds, thousands of miles deep. It's just
unimaginable. The scale.
Yeah, it's an unimaginable like amount. Like I don't know how you could even do that, even with the crazy technology they had. It's just such a huge scale that I could believe that that it is impossible to do for like shooting like ice down in there.
I 100% agree. Except the problem we still have is the secrecy behind the whole thing. Like,
True.
So you need to be telling people, like talking about why this is happening.
Right.
And hey, this is a problem.
Agreed.
So people can work on the solution.
Right.
As opposed to like, well, I think I know why this is this, and this solution there is no solution
Which
there. This is
I
the only one
just
we
decided
have.
is the solution.
No, I agree.
Right.
Yeah.
So I completely agree. Like it is a foolhardy thing for our protagonist to say, like, well, just stop just cool the magma then.
Right.
Just, that is not the most logical thing. But you wait till 0 hour, not knowing the cause of these things, and now it's too late for any other solution.
Yeah, true.
Well, and I mean, don't we see like in that like kind of an allegory of like just choosing one option and sticking with it? Like, I'm not saying like Gallows has a better idea, because he also has like one idea that he is putting forth, and we're all like, that's really dumb. Like it takes another person, Leo, to be like, actually, I have the solution, and it works. It's not like it's not like a one that you would like choose right away, or like maybe if he put it back to somebody at like the beginning, you would be like, are you nuts? But it ends up being the one that works. So so like we both have like our villain and our protagonist who each take like very narrow paths of the solution, and they're both wrong.
Because the idea it ultimately is you have to let it happen. That's to play its course. Like is design, this is why the burning is happening anyways. It's like the desire to go back home. You need to find that purity, because then the fire becomes not hot at that point when they like, when it's accepted and they just like are in communication with these other life forms and stuff. Is just like, it is a cleansing thing, not a destructive thing. And so, it's where we get into, again, it's like, it's all fantasy, of course, whatever, but
well, and fire in a lot of cultures and a lot of like traditions, faith traditions and stuff, is known to be like a cleansing thing. I mean, even when it does burn things, it's in a lot of ways it is a cleansing, like fresh start, renewal. Forest fire, old forest burns so new life can spring forth and such. And
I'm smiling because we did talk about like cleansing elements when we were talking about Delicious in Dungeons. That just took me right back there.
To me, that's, again, there's just there's multiple ways you can look at this. There's allegorical ways. There's just different levels to the cleansing, and the purification. It just feels good. It doesn't have to be anything specific. It's just like, hey, can we all like, just let things go and live together again?
That's right.
So, but
shows and movies like this about like this existential threat to humanity always make me think that if something actually did happen where like, oh, the Earth's core is turning to magma and is going to like overflow the world in lava, or a meteor's coming, or do you think our world could get their crap together to like come together to find some sort of scientific solution or military solution if there's like an alien invasion, or are we just like screwed because of like the way the political parties are fractured, different countries can't get along to like work together? Just like we can't even solve like world hunger or like tuberculosis or malaria or like some of these things that could be cured if we could just get the right money and meds to the right places. And I don't know, it just makes me think that if there ever was an existential threat, we're screwed. I don't know.
Does it make me cynical to feel like if it was like something like an alien invasion, it might be like successful to get everybody together because there would be like an enemy?
No, I think that's a
to
fair
directly,
point.
tangibly fight. Where like I don't know.
Well, humans are kind of, I think, like wired to like form tribes, and I think if you kind of group together depending on the situation, and if there's an existential threat by another tribe of like other. Then probably our tribe would get real big real fast. Hopefully.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's a good question, Phil. Obviously, lots of movies have tried to kind of explore this or whatever.
True.
Something like Independence Day, world comes together, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
I think, I like the way that the Horizon games do it. Horizon Zero Dawn, Horizon Forbidden West. For those who don't want any spoilers for this, to close your ears. Like, their idea is that I don't know if I want to go on and explain the whole thing, but basically there is a group of people that figure out a way that we can kind of continue on, but it's sort of at the expense of everybody else. It is another thing, like we're going to allow humans to continue to exist, but everybody else is dead. And they're not going to tell everybody that. Like, enough people have come together, try to figure out a solution, and this is what they've decided on, and they lie to the rest of the world, feigning a hope for them when there is none. And I could see, I mean, I don't know, I like the idea of being played with, coming together or not. After 9/11, there was a lot of unity, I would say. Never seen so many American flags, and like things are different. Like, that was a horrible event, caused a unifying moment in the Western world.
Are you saying a horrifying event that like hit humanity from an outside force could like unify humanity potentially?
Yeah, I think
that's unfortunately what I would say yes to.
But what about like a meteor still?
Yeah,
that's an imminent threat. It's not sentient.
Sure.
But it doesn't have to be sentient. It's an outside force.
True. Yeah. Yeah, that's true. I would hope that would rally everyone together.
I think it's also still like, I think it's easier when it's a tangible thing. When there's like, we can see, identify, come up with, potential physical solutions. I don't know. I think there's something about like seeing like versus a tangible object versus or alien versus like diseases are very tricky. Like that is an invisible thing. Like what do you do?
Right.
Or end of day, like a religious end of day sort of thing. End is coming, end is coming, end is coming.
Maybe.
Right. And then it's like, what, well, when is it coming? How do you know? Well, this sort of thing. It's not,
There's a certain comfort, I think, in unification in like certainties. Again, where I'm saying like physical objects and or other beings, there's something that you can like see, touch, physically.
Yeah, you can't have half the population that doesn't believe the thing and then have unity. You can't have like, 30% of the Earth's population is Christian or something like that. And the other 70% isn't, or, whatever the amounts are.
Right.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. All right. Interesting.
That's a good question.
Yeah.
I don't know.
It's a good, it's an interesting.
Write a story. Tell us how you do.
John's just trying to get it to create stuff so he can promote it on the show. I'm going to write a new webtoon. You're going to write a story.
Right. Sounds great.
Some original content out of here. I like it.
Perfect. Okay. Well, yeah. Speaking of which, might as well tell everybody where to go to find the things and all that sort of thing. So, friends of the show, regular participant, Mike, make sure you check out TrackMouse34 on YouTube. Does racing videos. He's also just TrackMouse on Instagram. MJ Honeybee, she's on Twitch and YouTube, but she streams on Twitch, Dead by Daylight. So check her out. Killing the Flower, they wrote our main theme song for the regular show. Make sure you look at them on music streaming services. And Peter J. Gilbertson. Trying to get him back on the show more, but he has some written works available on Amazon for usually only a few dollars a piece. They're collections of short stories in the horror and paranormal related fields. So definitely take a look at those. And then us, like, share, subscribe, follow in all the places. This is Ohayou Anime, and we have our own YouTube channel. We stream regularly on our core channel on Twitch. That's Popcast on the Rocks. You usually rotate episodes each week, but we'll see how it goes. We are carrying over. We got to pick a movie for the next podcast on the Rocks.
I was just looking.
It's funny we were talking about this because Armageddon was one of the floated movie
Armageddon.
choices. So
we should do it now.
Or Deep Blue Sea. You should do it now because it.
Yeah. I feel like we're very in this vibe right now.
Okay. All right. Armageddon it is. So next week you can look forward to our discussion of Armageddon as we're following. Which actor are we following?
Thomas Jane.
Thomas Jane. He is in Armageddon. I don't remember who he is
in Armageddon. I think you're thinking of Bruce Willis. Bruce Willis.
No.
No. Who's in Armageddon?
We might be following the
henchman.
Yeah, henchman.
He might be like a guy who works on the oil rig.
Right.
Maybe?
No, I think
No. It's what's his face? Hold on. I'm gonna get there.
His name.
Ben Affleck.
Yeah. Nope.
He's
Will
Patton. Will Patton. Yep.
So are we good doing that?
I am totally fine with that.
Thomas Jane, you've got nothing else to offer. We're going on.
Peace, dude. It's been fun.
Okay.
Yeah, we could talk about it, but that would be very fun. I feel like I said, we're kind of in this end of the world vibe right now, so I like it.
Yeah.
Did you guys ever watch the movie Don't Look Up? It was kind of about this, where it was like a meteor is with Leonardo DiCaprio and
yeah.
It was supposed to be good. I never did watch it, but apparently that is the premise: is that no one is like worried about this meteor coming except for these two scientists, and everyone else is just. And they're like, "Why are you people freaking out about this meteor that's going to destroy everyone?" I don't know. Like people don't believe it's really going to happen, or I don't know. It sounds like that's what you guys should watch and do on your show. Everyone's seen Armageddon.
Well, it would be a good tie-in. I mean, we have to get there because Timothée Chalamet is in it, so then we could like jump to Dune. But we'd have to get there. We have to get there somehow.
And just like full honesty, I think with this movie with Promare, like what I like is the zaniness of it and everything. Allows for the discussion we had, a lot of different topics and stuff like that. A lot of allegorical possibilities for them. Whereas Don't Look Up, I understand is just straight up a climate change allegory. Like I understand that's the directive of the movie.
It's a comedy though, so I don't know how they go about it.
Sure.
Yes, I heard it's quite silly.
We could have watched it after Face Off because Gina Gershon is in it.
Okay.
So that could have been our tie-in, but too late.
Yep. Yeah.
I'm sorry. I'm gonna have a lot of fun with that now. Tying everybody to.
I know. So Phil, you're familiar with what we're doing here with the movies on podcast? We're doing.
Well, I'm kind of catching on with
We're just daisy chaining actors.
Oh, nice.
So we Nicolas Cage movie, did another Nicolas Cage movie, then we pick another actor from that movie. To cover another movie, and then we pick an actor from that. So everybody we just keep
a couple. Nice, going. That's fun. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yep. I don't know what we call that. I think daisy chaining makes sense.
Works.
Yeah, it works.
Yeah.
Leapfrogging. I don't know. It doesn't need a name. It's fine.
Well, it's hard to put in a title like what we're doing.
Sure. Yeah.
So
it's like 7 Degrees of Kevin Bacon kind of in movie form.
That's where John got it.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
And Alan figured out how for us to get back to Kevin Bacon in like 2 movies. So we could have very quickly done it.
Sure. Yeah. Did a lot of movies.
Mm-hmm. So Ohayou Anime Podcast on the Rocks. Make sure you follow us on YouTube and your favorite podcast directory. Otherwise, that'll be it from us for now. And we'll see you next time in Podcast on the Rocks. So thanks guys for joining me. See you next time.
Of course. Bye, guys.
Sayonara.